Hey, welcome everybody to Friday Night at the Crib. I posted a link on the right-hand side in case anybody but Laredo would like to join the show. So feel free. We're going to talk a little bit about the, I guess, Chris Live or Wrong Thinker Live and what's going on in the week. Let me go ahead and introduce everybody from left to right. Venom Hurricane.
Good evening.
Toxic.
G'day everyone, how are we?
It's Dandy. Magic Mike.
Hello all.
Senior Daniel.
Hello, everyone.
And this is Hefe. I take did everybody watch the I don't even know what you call it, but the Kicks Eye show it was on 2 hours ago.
I always miss
Part of it,
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. They use a lot of words to sort of explain things, but not provide, I think, enough detail for the players to grab a lot of the players to grab a hold of and be like, this is exactly what they're planning to do. Because I don't personally, I listen to it. I'm not exactly sure what they plan to do with PvP as far as the refactor goes. It is a little bit of a scary thing that they're trying to do is take the complication out of the game, get rid of over damage and things of that nature without impacting the behavior of your fleet or your turrets or your technology, which sounds very tricky to me, especially the way they've been historically testing stuff in order to get that right and not upset a large part of the player base, because PvP is one of those things. PvE is like, oh, well, they make things so easy for us. The players aren't going to complain, but PvP is a balance game that they need to make sure that they need to continue with. And it just sounds like there's a lot of balls in the air as far as the way I see it, as far as what changes are they going to make, as far as how do they get rid of over damage. We've made suggestions on the show previously on things to improve PvP, as far as one of the ideas I had was to make the turrets more standalone, stop relying on the fact that for our turrets at this point to do significant damage, you need to have 8 of these turrets. You need to have them under 5 fire supports, and it really limits in some way what you do with the turrets, since so many of them at this point are getting turned into just fodder for your bubble. And it's going to change things significantly if they do something to remedy that. That, okay, maybe 8 of my turrets are effective. The rest of them are just sitting there to build up the tier 7 bonus and add to my 25% bubble pad. So it'll be interesting. I didn't parse out any details of what they said that would at least fix that aspect of the game. Anybody else have any thoughts on what we saw?
It almost, to me, they haven't quite decided yet on how exactly they've got some, maybe 2 or 3 final ideas of how they're going to do it, but I don't think they're quite 100% sure yet which one they're going to apply. That's why they haven't really sort of gotten in any more details into that yet. That's what it looks like to me. I don't know, I might be wrong, but yeah, that's just what it looks like to me.
Yeah, or they're onto a plan and they haven't finalized the details, and they don't want to release any details, so they don't get any lashback. I mean,
yes, that's the same ballpark.
Yeah,
they're tiptoeing through the tulips right now a little bit.
Yeah.
But the good thing, I think, is that they are telling us that or what what direction they're going into, not the exact path, but the direction. And I think that's a good thing. And I think the way they're going now, they might even tell us once they know. They may even go in a little bit more detail when they do. Or at least I hope. At least that's what it looks like.
Yeah, my real hope is once they figure it out, they communicate it to the player base about a month before they make these changes, and figure it out soon. The reason I ask for that is players are going to be building based on the current meta in the game, and then if they're going to change it radically, even unintentionally change it, and that players need to know now, as opposed to knowing later, so they can make changes to either their base, their builds, or whatnot to move forward. Because people are going to get upset if they just make a massive change and negate something that a certain group of players is doing, and they melt down all their towers, and now they only have like 6 left, and things like that. Don't you think, Venom?
Yeah. Honestly, they need to have an open test, like we've done in the past, with their finalized sort of ideas put out. Let the players go through, see what they think. It's all well and good having an idea, but whether that idea works is based upon how the players will use it. And notoriously, we have worked ways around things that they've never seen coming. So they have to let us have it before it hits the live server, or else it could turn out just dramatically awful.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And they haven't done an open preview in what, a year? It's been a long time since they've done an open preview.
It tended to be that when we went to do previews, people would mess around doing things that were PvP related, rather like just random PvP stuff, instead of actually doing what they wanted. But when it comes to a change like this, it's something that everyone will want to be looking into. It's not one of those things where it's cool, I'm on a test server, let's go kill some megas for the hell of it. No, it's a big change. People will want to figure that out immediately in all aspects of PvP, and working the builds. Because at the end of the day, if the ships are changing, you're going to need the builds for it. People are going to be rather upset. At least let us see what we need to sort of work towards getting.
Yeah, and I didn't really mind that players went off schedule a little bit on some of the stuff, especially if you could apply whatever new technology was. You brought up the megas as an example. If they could apply that new technology to the mega, is there any reason they shouldn't test it out? If they're just taking their mega that has had no change whatsoever because of what's being previewed at this point and just starts going around hitting megas, that's an issue. But if there's some sort of conqueror technology that is introduced that you could, or some technology that you could put on your mega that might make a significant difference, is there a reason not to test it out? I mean, people have 80,000 gold, and it's not like they're locked into that battle. It didn't bother me as long as they were incorporating the new technology in whatever activity they were going through. It didn't matter if they're were supposed to be going, because I didn't like it when they were supposed to be doing previewing some new PvE technology, and people try to hit bases with it and figure out how that works. But if they're just using the old technology and just using free coins to hit that, that's a whole different deal.
Yeah, the issue was people were going around, say there was a new defender hull came out, they wanted to test the defender hull, but people were hitting megas, doing fleet versus fleet, and just completely ignoring the main purpose of the test. But where it comes to this, where so much is going to change PvP wise, where the tier 7 ships are changing, probably turrets will be changing. You've got so many aspects there of PvP. You've got fleet versus fleet, base defense, and megas. Just let us at it.
Mhm.
Every time it's been open, people have been doing that anyway. So just throw us a bone, this, have at it, and they'll get much better results testing that way than they will doing in-house testing, because there's a hell of a lot more of us testing than there is of them.
Yeah,
In their defense, though, that they only been at it for a few weeks, so we can we can only go by what the old management did. This is the new management. Maybe they the way they're going, they may very well incorporate test servers and stuff like that, because they seem to be very interested of what the player base has to say. I read all their surveys and little forms and stuff that we had to fill out. So there's always hope, I guess.
yeah, it's
I-
true.
I'm just hoping that they let us see it before it goes out, instead of putting it out and then giving us a survey. Because if we're having to do surveys after it's released to the live server, it's too late.
Yeah, and I could see if they did. There's two different, like there's a preview server, which I consider it to be two different things. Like a test server, you're testing the functionality of whatever technology is being released, because we've seen things where the technology did not work anywhere like they expected it to. Some of the more infamous ones were some of the splash UAVs where they wouldn't hit anything. They still really, there's a lot of stuff that's been released that didn't work anywhere near how they thought it was going to work. And then there would be like a preview server where they work on balancing. Is this balanced in the game? Is a second step. A, does the technology work? B, does the technology work inside of the game and create a balanced environment for the players? And I don't know, exactly how you do that, but I think the preview server is probably more appropriate for, a public open server, and probably the first one should probably be a closed server that just deals with the integrity of what they say in the blueprint actually shows itself outside of it and actually in the game.
Yeah, the server that players that they'll want players most on will be one for balancing. They can change functionality and test it themselves if it actually works, but the balancing part of it, there's far too much in PvP at this point to have a small team work on and go through all of it. You'll need the players' help with that, because again, there's a lot more of us thinking about it than there is in their team, and it's been said many, many, many times that we just use technology that's given to us in ways that they just never foresaw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because testing the technology is tough. Testing targets is easy as far as doing in an open environment. Just throw the target and award some arbitrary resource or shards or whatever, and just preview it for a week or so and let the player base hit that target and decide. They can find balance issues that way with the target, but the technology is tough because it's requiring that the players coin it onto their fleets, and yeah, that part is tricky, and they do need to work something out and make it so the larger player base feels included in the changes in the game. Either but Laredo says this, they were useless. They at least showed. They at least gave the player base a feeling of inclusion in the process. And whether they chose to write in the survey, "this shit sucks and kiss my ass, kicks I and die," that's their own fault for wasting that time in the process. And the fact that only a couple hundred people were allowed in, but nobody can complain and bitch on the forums about that if that's what they wrote in as far as the survey about this. They're maybe if test grade, have somebody go through and grade the people that were in the open server and don't allow those user IDs back in if that's all that they wrote, and make it something like that where, okay, you might have got in this server, but you're not going to get another server for a year because you didn't provide anything useful.
Even if they want to just take top PvP players, a handful of them, then a handful of mid players, and a handful of the people just joining PvP, go for it. They have to realize that the players don't think as linear as they do. We adapt very quickly. We we just outsmart a small number of the team with what we do because there's more of us. And to be honest, there's nobody better to ask than the players themselves. Yes, the team might be a good team. They might know a lot, but at this point, we've invested so much time and energy into figuring things out and sort of finding ways around what they've given us that they don't expect. We've seen it way too many times. At this point, you just I don't want to say that the team can't do it. It's just at this point, there's been so many times that we've just outsmarted what they've given us that you have to hold your hands up and say, look, you have to let us test this stuff.
Yeah, because I think they obviously, like they didn't appear to understand how the tier 7 bonuses worked, and they kept on releasing stuff. That was, and you provided a calculator. There was other, people were out there providing this information, and it appeared for a time with the old group that they were ignoring what was going on and still releasing armors and other things that didn't make any sense because it didn't appear that they had tested. They just assumed the blueprints were right. They never looked at the data below it, and I think that was frustrating because how long was PvP shut down because of that? They didn't understand the fire supports. They didn't understand tier 7. They didn't understand the damage that the turrets were doing. PvP was shut down for what, 3 months? Hello?
Yeah, PvP was shut down for about 3 months, and it wasn't just shut at the top level; it was shut almost all the way down.
Yeah.
As long as they had sort of half an idea of what they were doing, they could get away with an easy defense.
Yeah.
But again, that's where you need a wide band of people.
And people, and that's sort of. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Toxic. I just wanted to go back quickly to what I was talking about before. If they want to open up open servers, if they want to open up the servers again, they need to go through the sort of like the medal system or something of that nature. They need to go through the survey responses of the players and give them a score between 1 and 10. And if this player is scoring below a 5 in the level of their response, they're just doing this to gain information from themselves. They're not gaining information to provide feedback to KIXEYE in the game. And so therefore their user ID should not be able to get in there for at least some period of time. And that therefore you've taken the open server and you've created a system. I think what you're talking about, Venom, with creating a cross section of the player base, but the player base that is understanding what's going on, providing feedback, providing useful feedback to the point where it's maybe hard to put 400 people in the survey because so many people have provided useless input back to KIXEYE as a result. So I'm sorry, go ahead, Toxic. I just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah, all good. KIXEYE knows who the base hitters are. They just need to grab them and put them in a server somewhere. It'd be no good putting people in there that have got no idea about building ships and how to get around, how to find the niche builds and exploit the system. They need to have these people there that know how to do it, and I'm sure they know. And if they have one of these servers, then I hope that they grab those people and send them an invite to get in there and see if they can break it. That's
My
how
only,
I see it.
I understand that point. And I'm a big advocate for them taking the top end players who know exactly what they're doing with PvP and putting them in a server. But you need to have the lowers as well. There's no point testing all the big.
It really depends on how you evaluate top end players.
Well,
And
your sort of best base hitters, best base defense players, the players who do a lot of PvP all know who they are. They just have to look. It's pretty obvious at this point. But the point I want to make is, yes, it's all well and good having a balance at the top, but if you make it too balanced for the top end, they can just ignore the lower end, and at that point they get bullied a lot, and we've seen it quite dramatically when Tier 7 came out, where the players who know what they're doing, they're fine, they're safe, but the players who don't are just walked, like literally walked. I've hit some bases where I've taken no damage at all, and they're decent players. It's just the tech knowledge gap is huge.
yeah, and I mean, you've been perpetually pushing for the players with a high medal count be the one testing it, but that doesn't. Are they able to communicate any feedback or data that's useful to Kickside? And they are not the only people in the game. There's all sorts of people in the game. And so there needs to be another mechanism besides this medal count thing, because that seems, because a lot of people, I don't even want to get into this on the open, while we're live, but it's, yeah, go ahead,
Another
Mike.
thing is, like all of my medals have come from defense, not from hitting.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, as an example, both of us, we're both in the same sector right now. We're 1 and 2 in medals in the sector, and we haven't hit a base in a long ass time. And there's base hitters in here, but doesn't mean that we don't know anything about. I don't know anything about hitting bases. I know how to do it. I just choose not to do it because of other reasons outside of it. But I still have 540 some medals. But I don't hit bases. I just get it from, people hitting my base. And it's not a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of understanding by Kickside to create a situation where I feel like let me switch over to a quick little analogy. I feel base hitting is like drinking and smoking. You might enjoy doing it, but it's bad for you. You're going to get hit back. You're going to lose research. You're going to lose build times. You're going to lose big, because it could take you twice as long to build your fleets because you're involved in base hitting. Somebody's going to come hit you back, hit your shipyard. You don't see that for 11 more hours, and then you timed everything to be available for you to refit when you were online. And now you're off by a complete day because some asshole comes and hits your shipyard at this point in time and doesn't do anything else. Just wants to hit your ship. And then all the people that are sniping chore fleets, where we have 23 hours of repair. If some, level 75 with Fangtooth decides to hit you. There's so many things broken in the game at this point because of the division of fleets hulls into different classes that makes it basically untenable for a lot of people unless you want to dump a lot of coin into both your PvE and PvP parts of the game. That a lot of people don't participate, but they have a lot of knowledge associated with it.
Right, that was a lot of information. But firstly, Medals are never going to be a good solution to finding who the best is. It's too easy to manipulate. It's been said hundreds of times at this point, and it's pretty much a broken mechanic. Saying that, where you say you're almost afraid to go out hitting because of the repercussions it's going to come onto you. So things like fleet repairs, your shipyard's going to be down, so your fleet's not going to be building, stuff like that. They've already got docks auto repairing. They should almost make it instant to where your ships should keep repairing, if that makes sense. And the same with the shipbuilding.
Yeah, shipbuilding, your research, everything should continue to go on at this point in time. And why have we gone to the point where I took our level 4 towers when the game was in good shape? It took them 3 or 4 hours to repair, and now we're at like 9 hours for our portals. This only appears to cost Kickside money because if you were involved in PvP, people don't want to coin their base. So they're like, oh, okay, well, my base is busted. I'm not going to go out and hit another base. They might coin the repair on their ships, but it's a much smaller group that's willing to pay the repairs on their base. And they keep on extending them as opposed to, I keep on saying this, but, if it was a 3 or 4 hour repair on your turrets and they keep on adding on to it, why not just take the maximum, make it at 3 or 4 hours?
Could I just stop you on that point?
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, the time keeps going up, but that's specific for building. However, the instant repair, so repair all at once, it's went down. So where it was, I think it was 30 to 50 coin at one point, it's gone down to about 18 to 20. If you went to individually repair everything, just one by one, it cost you hundreds. So your repair at this point, a level 2 gate costs more to repair on its own than a full base repair.
Yeah, but it's still, what I'm saying is it still seems too much.
Bounty? That happens?
Nope.
No, it's not too much.
It's not just during bounty. I've seen it constantly throughout.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure you were responding to. Okay.
In bounty, yes, it is cheaper, but the price for repairing everything at once outside of bounty is still pretty close. It's still going to cost you like 5 times the amount if you went one by one.
Okay.
Your 2 gates, I think the 2 gates alone, if you coin just them, would be more than a full base repair outside the bounty. So yes, they need to lower the repair, but the repair isn't terrible, if that makes sense. It's yes, individually they're completely bonkers, but that's because you can't just have everything repairing near instantly. There has to be a period of time for something to be repairing. But the way they've overcome that price problem is doing it in the full base repair, where it is a lot cheaper to do it fully than doing it one by one.
But what I don't understand on all that is if you can, your base gets hit, you press repair, then you can repair every building on its own with the tokens that you get in the daily missions, right? But you can't use that same token to repair the whole base. I mean, these tokens, you don't. There's no guarantee you get them, so it's not like that. People have thousands of these tokens added up. You should be able to use those tokens on the whole base repair, because I'd rather spend the 20 coins repairing my base hitting fleet 4 times than I do once repair my base. Because what am I going to do? I'm going to repair my base, another block comes back, bang, and I'm at the same spot. That's the thing. That's why I don't coin my base. I would be willing to spend the same amount of coin on hitting bases on my base fleet if I have to repair that. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, there's two main points in there. The token point, the tokens are almost meant specifically for your dock. So where I've seen tokens appear, I've collected them. It's been just enough to get the dock, if not slightly less than one repair of the dock. The issue with the tokens being used to repair the full base is you, everything is time based, if that makes sense. And
You
to,
you
to get a
you can
token,
only have 6 of those tokens, so there's no way you can repair a whole base.
yeah.
Okay.
What I'm saying is to use tokens on a full base repair, as in instead of just clicking on one building to click just that to repair, there's a full repair function. If you use tokens on that, say you use a 1 hour token, the time on that is drastically different compared to the time of everything individually being repaired. So if
Yeah,
you were to use a token on that, it would repair some items more than what it would if you went to the individual item and used a token on that.
I realize that it's just that they you should be able to use them. That's what I'm saying. So, that it'd make more sense to put if it's like a 20 coin repair for the base or whatever you said it was. You can get 6 coins off that, so it leaves you 14. If you want to then coin it, maybe some people do. But at least you can use them for a specific task rather than just repairing the dock.
But again, the docks the main thing. The tokens were released primarily at the start for just repairing your dock because people were sick and tired of having to coin their dock every time. They don't have to coin the full base repair at this point. They can speed up the dock repair with tokens and then get on with their business as usual. So at least you're getting your dock repaired. But for using it for things like the full base repair, you have the problem again of not every building in that will heal the same amount. So you'll be taking more time off specific buildings than others, and that'll just it'll mess with mechanics that are difficult to work on, if that makes any sense.
It sort of does.
It's a complex one. Yes, it would be fantastic. Your time would be dramatically less to repair, but again, it we'll have to be realistic with things, and where yes, it would be fantastic if everything was cheaper. It's just not. You still have to remember it's a business model. It's not just get everything for free, if that makes sense. And
It does.
I'm not saying I don't want it. I really do. I'd love it, but again, realistically, it might not be possible.
That's fair. I mean, like I said, I've never coined my base, and I never will, unless I win Teslotto, then I may. And I'm not even sure that if you can coin part of your base back. I don't know if, like I said, I've never done it, or whether you have to coin the whole amount. I'm not sure.
Well, it's more economical to coin the whole amount because the way they charge you now, if I understand it correctly, is they charge you for whatever is the longest repairing item.
Yeah.
And
it's
so right now that's your portals probably or your outpost, depending on the level of your base. And so that's driving it, as opposed to like if you wanted to go and coin back your portal by itself, it's the same cost as your whole entire base. But
that's exactly it. It's instead of you can't just coin. That's the reason why it's just one single amount. You can't just coin say 2 coins out of say 20. It has to be the full amount because it's just taking the longest repairing building. It's not taking into account that you have a 5 turret that takes a couple of hours compared to 12 hours. If you in that full repair, if you were to say coin 10% of it, it's gonna because everything's time based and coins are time based, it's going to push some buildings further than others and make, say, you coin half of it. Well, there's half your base repaired already. That's cheap. If that makes.
Yeah.
It's a hard mechanic to work around.
Yeah. I
Hello,
mean,
guys.
hey, Northman, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. I've been listening to you, and I have I've been playing War Commander for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And when your base get busted, automatically the whole base does repair. So for Norway, different timeline. I get hit when I'm asleep. When I wake up, my base is repaired. I just have to start my platoon, start repairing. No problem. Why can't it be the same in Battle Pirate?
And it's probably something that they're thinking about hard because Wrong Thinker was.
Wrong Thinker is he fucked up War Commander bad, and I'm afraid he's gonna do the same here in the Battle Pirate. Just wait and see.
Okay. Could you provide a couple of not salacious, but a couple of concise ways that you thought he fucked it up? Like what concise and not
He came in
not mean, but just sort of like
he had the same approach to War Commander. Wrong Thinker thinks. I read it for like a couple of years now, and he was on many shows, various shows in War Commander. We took up issues. He listened and yes, he agreed completely, and he never did anything about it. The same as here in Battle Pirate, they launched a shitload of things that he meant was the right thing, but War Commander is dying. That will be the next game dying. Battle Pirate is the last thing that is really left of Kixeye, as I see it.
Okay.
And
is War Commander dying because of the mobile app, or are you talking about both of them? Because the mobile app for them is a separate game, correct?
Yeah, I never touched the mobile app. Who in the right mind will use the mobile app to play a game? At least War Commander.
Yeah. I was just checking because that seemed like a sure way to kill the original War Commander by siphoning off so many players to a mobile app.
Yeah. So
let's go ahead.
I've seen the mechanics. I have seen what he has been saying and what he has produced in the game, what he has promised and not delivered. So I think Battle Pirate hardcore players should really think and not just accept and thinking, wow, now they're really listening and whatnot, because I don't believe it for a second.
Yeah, the Battle Pirates community as a whole, especially the ones that have been here a long time, have seen almost the same speech repeated constantly. It's, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to fix this, and it always breaks. But the main problem we've had is they haven't talked to us enough and fully understood what changes they were making, or they just didn't do any changes. At this point, they're doing changes, but again, they need to listen to what we're saying and let us see it before it goes live, or they make stupid mistakes. For example, over damage.
But in over damage and deflection and whatnot, that has been going on for a year and a half.
Well, not over damage, but deflection has been going on for a long time.
We have adapted. We have all our fleets. We lose, we win, whatever. But we have adapted. We actually understand some of the mechanics. And now they're going to change it all again.
Again, we don't know the extent to the changes that they're going to make or how they're going to make them. And we talked about, I mean, I wouldn't want to get hired for that job. I mean, that is because I consider what's going on with Tier 7 to be a bad idea to begin with. So I wouldn't, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the hard reset idea, but I don't know how much you've been playing and listening to the shows. I'm really disliked the idea that, well, that Tier 7 you need to have 8 of them and 5 fire supports to make it useful, to make it relevant. Your turrets.
They reset the game like 1 year and a half ago. 18 months ago with the turret and what they did. I don't know the name, but it changed the game because suddenly whatever fleet you have in your arsenal will just die. There's a name for that change.
How long ago?
1 year and a half ago, a year and a half or whatnot.
What? Give us a ship that would have come out around that, so we have some context.
Was it explosive or what was something about it?
Was it a tier 7 hull or was it before
Oh,
tier
no,
7?
No, tier
long-
7. Tier 7 I wasn't out a year and a half ago.
It was before. It was before that. They changed everything. We have that ship now. You can win in Taiwan and FM and whatnot. What do you call a black ship?
Black ship.
I have to refresh my game.
Well, you're talking about the turret. Okay, Bob said the Axiom turret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yes, that's pretty much down to a complete and utter failure of testing things thoroughly. That's just quite literally we didn't test this properly. So
and they didn't even need players to do that.
no,
So they
that
just
was
needed to test them themselves, and just like two guys sitting around like, oh wow, this fucked shit up. Yeah, that was just a complete lack of testing.
Yeah. Like, again, that's where it comes down to. You need to let people test it, and players testing things finds issues much faster than just a small team of testers in-house. And we know how to break things very well. We're trained at it at this point.
Yeah, but what I'm
again,
saying is, I don't even think they put two guys in a room and thought this was a good idea with the Axiom.
If they knew what they were doing, like actually knew what they were doing, it would never have been launched with that much power. But obviously, they don't know fully. They've just made this turret, thought these damages look okay, and went on with it. But that's not how it works. You need to fully test things, and it clearly didn't. But that's a downfall that we've seen throughout the history of this game, where things aren't tested thoroughly and properly, and they're not tested with enough people. So you get stupid things like overdamage doing too much. You get hulls that get one shot by a turret. It's just testing.
Well, it's testing, and it's another thing that I brought up. I'm not sure if you watched last Wednesday's show, where I'm actually encouraged by the fact that Wrong Thinker is there, and he's been with the company for a long time, as opposed to bringing in new people as game designers into the group, into Kixeye, because they might have been testing it, and they were like, product told them, oh, this is, the people that monetize the game. Oh, this sounds great. Okay, he's done his job, as opposed to somebody who's been with the company and, has pride in what they're doing. Be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, it works from that perspective, but the players are going to fucking hate this. It's going to make money according to your spreadsheet, but the player reaction is going to be bad. And Wrong Thinker has been with Kixeye for a long time, and he probably has more standing than like Aerospex that was brought in out of the blue, and doesn't know anybody, doesn't feel like he has any backup associated with it. And at that point, the people that are trying to monetize the game are more in charge than the people designing the game. And so I'm at least a little bit hopeful from that perspective, personally.
But do we really want to change in the game? And what do we want? What do we want to change? Do you want everything to just flip upside down, get new mechanics in and whatnot, refit everything you have? Or you want to have it like you have it now?
At the top end, it's not too bad. It might be slightly more pushed to specific calls that you have to use compared to at the mid levels where you can basically use anything and get in. But again, it's down to knowledge and item awareness, if that makes sense. So there's changes that need to be done, whereby you're not just having to do min pass through every time. That just sucks every single time. You're having to use the same things over and over again. It's repetitive. There's not much variation. It's just max out numbers, and you're done. So that way, yes, it has to change. But again, you have to take it into consideration all aspects of players, all levels. You can't just change it for the max or change it for the min. You have to. It's a lot harder of changes, because one change might be good for one set of players, but a lot of players might lose their minds completely because it's going to break their game.
Yeah. I think as a player, what I would appreciate would actually be like, for example, what they have with War Commander. If your base get leveled, you're not online, automatically it starts to repair. And all the chores they have given us, you have to have titanium, uranium, base spot, and whatnot. Why don't do it in bounty permanent? You have one repair line for chore fleet, you have one repair line for conqueror fleet defenders. Two easy things to do, and that will actually make the game much more enjoyable. Why fuck with all the mechanics that we have actually adapted for a year and a half?
Because they're broken. If they're broken, why not change them?
Yeah.
A lot of the time
it's
in
been
the
broken
game,
many times. What this means that we have to start refit, and what do we do every goddamn week, every month, every year? You constantly refit your fleets. Constantly refit. A player that is into the game, he knows that he has to refit all the goddamn time because they change all the time.
You say that, and I'm going to let you into a big secret. I have changed my base hitting fleet very, very little for the past 5 or 6 months. And the bits that I have changed are 1 or 2 days each. And that's it. Quite literally, I've barely touched my basers.
Cool.
And for it to be said that yes, you have to change a lot, but it's really not that much baser wise, because it's been so focused in certain aspects. Base guard wise, it's a lot more difficult. Base guard you have to change very often, and that's a problem. I'd say changing basers isn't as big a problem as changing base guard, because more people rely on their base guard than they do base hitting.
When they give you MC plate 1, 2, and 3, and you get up to amount that you need for the tank to take the beating, of course the slot will always do the job outside. But sometime, in a few months now, you have been able to kill the tank, but when they change the mechanics once again in a way that you get enough deflection for the tank just to sit there, and you pound it with whatever you have in your guard, with your turrets and whatnot, but the stats are against you. You're doomed to lose anyways.
Okay. Is there any other aspects of the game that we should be talking about at this point? I mean,
well, yes. Why are the base part targets still not fixed?
which, in what way?
Buccaneers.
Oh, you're talking about for the Proto Centurion?
Proto Centurion and Buccaneers neither work terribly effectively.
Yeah, because I just auto them with my Hydras, and
yeah, Hydras work well, but Bucks not so much.
Okay.
Yeah,
because of the walls, yeah.
In the, I think it's the 103 Scourge target, or not Scourge target, Legion target. There's no walls in it. You still take too much damage.
Okay.
That's a problem.
Okay. Yeah. Personally, I've been just using my Hydras and autoing them, and I get like the personal way I hit them is I auto them. I used to group them and auto them, but now I just auto them. and I just use hydras, and I'll take a fair amount of damage on everything but the blood hydra, and then I get less than 5 minutes of damage on the blood hydra. I'll take that out, repair it sometimes if I want to, and just keep on running it. And I'm not taking any more than in repair damage for 300,000 base parts. So it really depends. I guess it's like the situation with the Phoenix and Skyfire, where the Phoenix was good in, good in some targets, not good in the other. But it appears the Buccaneer at this point in time is no longer good in any target. Correct?
But you get less than 5 minutes damage on your blood hydra in a 103.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I run on an auto.
Yeah. I also do moto, but I get more damage than that.
We've talked about it before. I run. Are you running? I guess the secrets is 1 concussive Gatling gun, reflective coating 4, and layered armor 3 would probably be the. You got all 3 of those components?
I'm not sure. I haven't touched the build since we used them a couple of months back, so I'm just using.
I haven't touched mine since the raid, but those are the 3 components as far as autoing that I think to be fairly important for the player base. Once you combine all those 3, that would be. Then you could probably bring your numbers down significantly.
Cool.
So,
the need for base part isn't that big, so if I hit 2 or 3 or 4 on auto, I just repair it. Or at least I repair it to the blood hydra is healed, and then I just stop.
Okay.
The other fleet, the other hydra will be at 75% whatnot anyways.
Yeah, and it's like I said, if you want to hit a bunch of them, only repair the blood hydra. There's no real reason to repair the rest of them.
Oh.
If you have the setup, that's working for you, like mine's working for me. So yeah, that's don't repair the rest. Just repair the blood hydra. Let the rest of them sit around. Half damage, or not half damage, but 25% damage. I know that would drive Mike crazy, but for me, it doesn't bother me. So.
Me neither.
Okay. Is anybody? Well, the invitation is still open in case anybody would like to join us from chat. It's out there, except for Laredo. Laredo's not allowed on the show until I'm allowed on the forums. So we have that back and forth, and he won't join anyways.
I got one thing. Now, when they said they're going to bring out, or they're going to force out the rest of the tier 7 stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when is the tier 8 stuff coming out? Is it even worth building the tier 7 stuff, or are they going to delay the tier 8 stuff until an indefinite time, so that we can even have a chance to build all the tier 7 stuff that they're going to bring out in the next few months? Because we're only going to have a month or so or 2 to get stuff built if we get new OP around about Christmassy time. So does anyone know anything about that?
There should be I don't know anything about it. There should be a period of stability in my mind, where once you achieve tier 7, that the game is going to work that way. Or they don't make the massive, ridiculous jumps that they made going from tier 6 to tier 7, as far as armor levels and damage on the turrets. If they make them, as opposed to making them 500%, make them 20%, so they're all compatible, but the tier 8 is going to be a little bit better than tier 7, but it's not like tier 7 just pissed all over tier 6.
Yeah,
Going
that was
from
just
2.3 million, 150,000 to 2.3 million as far as armor. So, yeah.
that was just my or is my big worry. Am I going to start building all these new hulls and whatnot, and then as soon as I built them, they're going to bring out tier 8 and it's all obsolete?
Well,
That
at
was
least
a big that's that's sort of hanging in my mind. Like, do you build? Do you not build? Is it a waste of time? Is it good? Is it bad? They haven't really said anything. They haven't said that they're gonna, like, everybody here is expecting, I guess, that the new all the new stuff will be coming around Christmas time. I think that's when it happened last time. It's around about that time span.
But
And
Yeah.
but if you haven't built this tier 7 stuff, you will not be building the tier 8 stuff faster anyways. You will be at the pace you have anyways. If you
Well,
understand what I mean.
yeah, but what I'm saying is it even worth building it? Or is it or is it going to be totally obsolete like tier 6 was when tier 7 come out? So then you wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't even build a hull because it's going to take me a month or two to build a fleet and get it all worked out, and then it's all obsolete when tier 8 stuff comes out. That's what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Well,
I've not heard I've not heard them say that that they're going to delay, OP10 or OP11, OP12, OP13, or whatever it's going to be, so that we've got some time to enjoy the fleets that they're forcing on us now to balance the game.
Yeah. I mean, it's the one thing that I did notice is, and we've only seen small bits of it, is that they're looking at and trying to make the game a little bit less drastic in the changes. One example is when they went and redid the dockways, because they thought, I can't remember some of the adjectives that they used associated with what they did with that, and that was lined up with the armor and whatnot. I think they thought what was done in 2017 associated with 2017, 2018. The beginning of this was sort of ridiculous. I mean, I thought it was ridiculous that, like we said, we go from 150,000 armor to 2.3 million, and hopefully we'll go from 2.3 million to 2.5 million, as opposed to going to 10 million, basically like they did last time. And the hope is there that they do that the transition from tier 7 to tier 8 is more seamless, so your tier 7 stuff still has some value.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. Let's hope so.
They are doing the same, Ella. They're doing the same, or trying to do the same in Battle Part, like they did in War Commander. People were upgrading, using time, coin, whatever, and they saw the difference were too big, and they offered the lower level the opportunity to catch up. But I'm not sure. Too late, too weak, and whatnot. I'm not very optimistic. That's just my opinion. It's not like this is new and whatnot. I reckon you guys know that also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And another thing, I mean, some people hate it, some people don't mind it, and some people like it. I like the app, the telephone app. I think it's a good thing that you can do certain things while not having to sit on a computer, and you can do a little chores and stuff while you're at work, which is, I reckon, is awesome. The only thing I hope they're listening is, why doesn't the base repair work on the app? It tells me your base is repairing, blah blah blah. Then I get home and the base has not been repairing, and yeah, that's the only thing. There should be somewhere. I mean, they've done all these upgrades to the app, and I reckon it's awesome. You can swap out ships and all that sort of stuff. You can see what's repairing, what's building, whether your base is under a protection or whatnot. But put a button in there where we can actually repair or start the repair of the base on the app. That would be awesome.
I agree. Good point. They should just do it as again in War Commander. When your base is dead, start repairing automatically. If you're asleep and whatnot, if you're at work and whatnot, okay, you don't have to be online to click that button, start repair.
Yeah, that would be, but I guess with them bringing out the app, they don't want to go that way. I don't think. But the app's there now, so and like I said, you can do all these cool little things. You can send fleets out to hit your FM targets. You can hit all sorts of things. You can play the raid. You can play the anything, the bounty from there or whatnot. But the only thing you cannot do is repair your base, and that really would be awesome if there was you could actually click on it or touch it or whatnot, and bingo, your base repairs. And when you get home, you can actually play. You can say, oh yeah, this guy hit me, I'm going to go hit him back now. But when I get home, well, my base just started to repair. I've got 2 hours left on the bubble or whatnot, and well, I'm not going to switch it back off and let it repair. Get the base card in and repair that, and that's it.
That was back in the days when the game was really fun. When you wake up in the morning, you actually load up the game because you were excited to see how your base did and whatnot. You start repair. But
Yeah.
it's been a year or two that I actually load my game before I go to work. It's not that interesting anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I used to do it. Haven't done it for a long time. I used to get up half an hour early, just so I could speak to the couple of guys. Because most of them in America, and when you get up, it's during the day there, and get a few words into the alley chat, and find out what's been happening while you were asleep, and maybe quickly be part of a quick hit with a couple of the other guys, and then off to work. But I haven't done that for a long time.
Me neither.
But yeah, it's just it would be good if they brought that app out, make it not just useful and clicking to do your chores and whatnot, but actually let us repair stuff like the base. You can repair fleets and whatnot.
I agree.
That's all I really have for the app. Oh, Hefe's gone off to get a beer.
Yeah, beer is important.
Oh yeah, gotta have it.
So where are you in the country down under? So I had a big issue with drought. Is that what it's called? In the biggest producing agriculture.
I'm not really sure. What? No, is that it again?
I saw on the news that the biggest county or state and whatnot in Australia had a big issue with not enough water.
Drought. Yeah. I think it's 67% of the state I live in is under severe drought. Yeah, and it's fire bans all over the place. You're not allowed to light a barbecue. You have to have burning permits when it gets really bad, and yeah, it's pretty dire. Especially the farmers, they don't have any feed for the cows and whatnot.
Yeah,
and they're having to kill, like they're having to breeding
But
stock.
maybe we have to take that in the after chat, whatnot. Maybe people are not that interested there. I'm sorry.
yeah, but only Hefe can click that button. There's nothing much we can click on it, but nothing happens.
So where are you now in the map world?
I'm in the 100s, or in the from 0 to 100s.
Okay.
I think I'm not even sure what sector I'm in. I think I'm far off a few guys.
Yeah, I'm in 300 now.
Okay, now you were in 12 or 15 or whatever you were in.
Yeah, maybe 12 it was.
Yeah, we're in a couple of sectors back. I think we're in 11 or 12 or 13 or something.
Okay.
There he is. He's back.
Yeah, I went to get a beer. I guess are we wound out at this point?
Yeah, I've got nothing. I've spoken my bits.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll start the after show so Laredo can come on and do what he does.
Fair enough.
So thanks everybody for showing up. If you want to jump in at the last moment and provide some new blood, I think we've talked about a lot of stuff. And go ahead and do the chameleon thing. If you have the tech, it's really easy. I took less than 10 minutes of damage on price pack 3 with my hydras. And if you drive well with your fang tooth in price pack 2, it's well worth it. Is because you can build the chameleons for free. Maybe we should have talked about chameleon builds. But I don't know. I don't have the energy for that. But the idea is just to get the maximum resistances across the board, and there's different ways to do that. But yeah, feel free to join us in the after show, and see you all on Wednesday, where we be previewing the raid with no new PvE prizes, just all old stuff and a new conqueror. I don't know if it's corrosive or concussive. We're assuming it's going to be Revenge 2, since they fired the person that named stuff a while ago. And you all have a great night.